Hello, everybody. We are back for the new season. It's been a long few months, although it kind of hasn't been because it's gone past quite quickly. Football didn't quite come home, but we're going to completely forget all about that now because football is back. I nearly went into saying League One football is back, but League One football is back, but we don't care about that anymore, sadly. It's League Two football that is back. Um, we're not sure if it's where the Cobblers belong at the moment, whether it's, League One or League Two. Obviously, at the end of last season, a really bad season, which we're not going to dwell on at all. Yeah, definitely deserves to be League Two. But are we a League Two club? Are we a League One club? It's definitely a debate that is worth having. Probably a debate that you could have with the club that we are facing on Saturday, because we face Port Vale, as we did pretty much for the second half of last season. We spoke to an opposition fan, got their thoughts on the Cobblers, on their team as well, more importantly, gave us, a good preview ahead of the game at the weekend. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We've got Dan, who is a Port Vale fan. He is a member of the Ale and the Vale podcast, which is the best podcast name ever that we've had on the channel. So fair play to you for that, Dan. First of all, Dan, last season, I was doing all of these in lockdown. Everybody was locked in. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't do anything. Obviously, we're free again now. So how are things? I guess you're up north in Stoke-on-Trent, somewhere like that. How are things where you are?
Stoke-on-Trent, yeah, it's all right now. We're calming down here, obviously having the season locked in. And we're kind of more east from you because I'm driving across Saturday and plan the route, and we're sort of across to Derby, then down the M1, that sort of way.
Yeah.
I thought, but it was horrible once you're watching football on telly. It wasn't the same as being in the ground and experiencing it, and the games didn't have the same feel about and the same atmosphere. So really looking forward to Saturday and coming over to your place, and let's have a look what this season's going to be about.
Absolutely, and for you, it's the first away day that you'll have had for 18 months. We've got Coventry away on Tuesday in the Cup, which hopefully should be a bit of a local game. It's not a derby, but a bit of local, rivalry in there, kind of. So that should be good for our first away game. Obviously, you mentioned last season there, we were sat watching it on our screens, either phones, laptops, TVs, whatever, however we could do it. This season, we're going to be able to be there. We're not going to be able to watch it on our screens apart from kind of on a Tuesday night if we can't make it. Yeah. But going back to last season, I want to forget about last season just for 1 second. But the season before that, 2019-20, where the season was curtailed early, the Cobblers and Port Vale were very, very close together in the final League Two table. I think it was like 0.0 something that we got into the playoffs ahead of you. So I imagine you're kind of looking for a bit of revenge on Saturday afternoon after kind of just pipping you to the playoffs in 2020.
To be fair, I don't think we hold that against Northampton, personally.
Yeah.
Had the season carried on, I think we all very much feel as though Vale were the side that would have got that final spot because we were 8 games undefeated. We were on a good run. I think we just played you as well and beat you at your place. So, we were the form. To be honest, we were the form side in the league at that point. And we were. There was only one way we were going. And I dare say we'd have made the playoffs. Once you get there, it's a lottery. And, fair play to Northampton. You took the chance, went up, and you had your season in League One, unfortunately for you, behind closed doors. But yeah, it was, we were there with your nip and tuck. And for us, we put a run together. And I think that run that we put together, because we were undefeated in 8 at the end of the season, and then fair play to our chairwoman who voted for the season to finish because she thought that was right for football, even though she knew that meant us missing out. So, we got a lot of plaudits for that, but this season we aren't after plaudits. This season we're after getting one better than we had that year. But we kind of had that momentum. We thought we'd take it into the next season, which we did to begin with. And then I know you're going to touch on next season, so I won't spoil it, but then it all kind of fell apart for us.
Yeah. So, like I said, you were the informed team. Like you said, sorry, you were the informed team at the side at the time. We were saying ourselves, like, we can't believe we're actually here in these playoffs because our running looked really difficult. We had like the likes of Exeter to play, who we obviously went and beat in the final. But Newport on the last day of the season looked a hard game. I think we had Bradford in there. We had some really, really tough games at the end of that season, and we were like, there was no way we would have made the playoffs had that season finished. And obviously, you guys have felt the complete opposite. But probably a good thing that you stayed in League Two because you could have had, a carbon copy of the season we've just had in League One. A lot of Cobblers fans have been saying that had we've got promoted the season just gone in the 2020-2021 season, then maybe if we could be sat here previewing League One football now in a much more confident position that we could, maybe survive and get not mid-table, but, around that 16th kind of mark is what you kind of aim for as a newly promoted side. But that's like kind of all in the past. Last season for you wasn't as good as the season before. You finished 13th in League Two, so I believe.
Yeah.
It looks to me on paper like an average, mediocre season. I've not looked at your form or your results or anything like that, but how was last season for you?
It was a roller coaster, to be honest, because we took that form that we finished the season before into the league, and come sort of FA Cup first round weekend, we were in around the top 3, top 4, and we weren't playing brilliant, is the honest answer, but we were getting results. We were up there, and we lost in the FA Cup to a non-league club, Kings Lynn, and the wheels completely come off. And after that, we won something like 3 games in 25. So the middle of the season just capitulated, and we were in a relegation battle, make no bones about it. We were scrapping for his lives at that point. And the good thing that come from last season from a Vale perspective is it forced a massive change in the club. We got rid of John Askey, the manager, brought in a director of football, which we've never had at Vale before, in David Flitcroft. We then brought in Daryl Clark as manager from Walsall, and we've put a structure in, a proper football structure. And to be honest, we're hoping that's built the foundation for this season, because we had a massive clear out in the summer and basically every player out of contract got released. There wasn't one player that was kept. So we've had a massive squad overall. And so last season we finished, actually just before the end of the season, we went 8 games undefeated. And we won 7 on the spin. And that was when Clark come in. He got his ideas over. So I think that's given us a little bit of optimism for this year. But I think after what happened the season you went up, we're kind of trying not to be too optimistic, because everyone expected the year after we would push on. So I think from a Vale perspective, we're just hoping for a solid season and be up and around there, carry it into this year. But who knows? Because like I say, on Saturday when we get to it, there's probably only 4 players that'll start that were with us last year.
It sounds like you guys have had, well, not the carbon copy of the season that we had last year, but it seems like we've both had very similar summers. Obviously, your situation, you finished 13th in the end. It wasn't as bad. We obviously got relegated, but it sounds the same. We've, completely cleared out of the summer. 14 have gone, 14 have come in, or something like that. It's in the teens. We've got this new committee in place where there's a director of football. I don't think it's a director of football. There's a head of recruitment. And there's a solid kind of structure in place. I don't know exactly what it is. And it sounds like that's now looking to be the kind of way forward in League Two and in the lower leagues, to kind of not go exactly the same as these Premier League clubs who've got, 10, 12 people at the top, but where you've got 4 or 5 people that all know each other, all meet regularly and can decide things for the club. So that seems to be the way that League Two is going now. And it's always been professional, but it's becoming a lot more professional. So moving on from that, then you've obviously had a fairly average season last year, a roller coaster, as you said. We obviously had a terrible season that, again, I don't want to dwell on, and I keep dwelling on it. But talk to us about this season. What are your hopes for this season? How is it? Is it promotion? Is it is it like us, where we're kind of saying, yeah, okay, let's just get a top half finish and go from there? What are Port Vale's realistic ambitions for this season?
I think it all depends how the players gelled, but from a fan base, I think we're expecting a push at the playoffs. We're expecting to be in and around the playoffs. Can we make the playoffs? Who knows? A lot of our fans have kind of got us just sneaking in the top 7. So I think that's where we want to be. We definitely look a stronger side than we were last year. And I don't think the league is as strong as it was last year. No disrespect to some of the sides that come down, but you've got Rochdale, who look as though they're in turmoil. You've got Swindon, who've only just started to sign players, and they've taken Addy McCurdy on. So God help them when it gets to it. Yourselves have come down and expect yourselves to be up there. In and around. Who was the other side that come with you?
Rochdale, Swindon, Bristol Rovers.
Bristol Rovers, which I was expecting them to be up there, but who knows after what's happened with the manager and,
Yeah.
They're in, but I expect them to be up there. So I don't think the league's as strong as it was. I think there's probably, you look at Salford, you look at Bradford, you look at Tranmere. After that, I don't think there's that many strong teams. So I think the league is open, and I think there's a lot more weaker sides this year, because Rochdale are going to be weak, and the teams that come up Hartlepool, although a team's never been relegated who come up, Hartlepool look a pretty barren side. So I think we should be expecting a push in the playoffs, and hopefully we can get there. Let's see how these players dwell, because I think we've brought some quality in without making a marquee signing.
Would you say that last season it was kind of a league of two halves, where you had your kind of bigger clubs, yourselves, Bradford, Tranmere, people like that. And then on the other side, you've got your Suttons, your Barrows. No disrespect to them, but much smaller clubs. Morecambe to an extent. I mean, I know they went up in the end unbelievably. I've got nobody put last in my predictions this year. So is it kind of a league of two halves now, where you've just got these guys that are either trying to get in League One or have just come down from League One, and then you've kind of got these guys who have come up from the conference and just happy to be here?
Being totally honest, there wasn't a lot in the league last year. Anyone could beat anyone. I mean, we saw it when we were on a really bad run. We went up Bolton and beat them 6-3. And then we played Bolton at home and we lost 1-0, but they weren't very good. They went up Cambridge at our place, beat us 1-0, but it was a late thunder strike from 35 yards and they were no better than us. And we weren't that good last year. And the teams that went down, Southend were poor in all fairness, and so were Grimsby. And them two were cut adrift of everyone. There was two very poor sides, and the rest of the league was much of a muchness. And it'll probably end up being that again this year, because no one's really gone out and splashed that much cash this summer. You look at the sides on paper, and there's one or two that on paper look good. I mean, Tranmere look good, but James Vaughan's retired, which obviously is a big loss for them. Salford haven't spent the money they normally spend. So for them, it's a case of, will the consistency help them go up? And then, as I say, you've got Bradford, who have spent a little bit of money and obviously brought in Morecambe's manager, and they're hoping that they'll get the bounce off him going up, and they brought quite a few Morecambe players with them. But I honestly think it'll be much of a muchness in the league. There won't be that much quality, and it's about consistency in League Two. Whoever can put the results together consistently will be the side that go up. And I know that's a cliche in football, but I don't think you'll see many sides steamrolling teams week in, week out.
Yeah. I think spot on. I think League Two has always been about runs, hasn't it? If you go on a bad run, you usually end up getting relegated of a bad run of 10, 15 games. If you go on a good run, 10, 15 games, you'll make a promotion push. And you mentioned for yourselves last year, that's why you finished mid-table. It was 8 or 9 games running a bad run rather than 10 or 15, and it was 8 or 9 games at the end of the season where you did well rather than 10 or 15, and that's why you came mid-table. And I remember our first season when Keith Curl came in, we finished like 15th or 16th, similar to you, and again it was just runs of games that kept going on. Luke NTFC here has said this league's going to be really tight. You can see a lot of teams pushing the playoffs, and that's certainly interesting, because I'll never forget, there was one time, I can't remember what league the Cobblers were in, we must have been in League One. But I remember hearing on the radio that it was Easter Monday or something, and the TalkSport presenter was like, anyone from 4th to 16th could still finish in the playoffs in League Two, and that's just how close it is every single season. It's a dogfight. You've got to get yourselves out of it. It's a really difficult league to get out of, but when you do, and you're in League One, and you're rewarded with the likes of your Sunderlands, your Charltons, all these away trips that you get. Hull for us last year as well, Peterborough for us as well, local derbies and stuff. So it's a massive reward when you get out of League One, out of League Two. In terms of yourselves, then, you mentioned you just want a solid season. You want to get that playoff push going again. How's pre-season been? What have Port Vale been up to? Have you been playing some strong and weak teams, some just mainly strong teams, many non-league teams? Because I know we've been playing a mix. We've gone from playing West Ham at home to Stamford away, who I'm sure you've probably never heard of. So how's it been for you in terms of your pre-season?
Same, to be fair. We started with the sort of local non-league sides, the Kids Growth Athletics, Newcastle Town, Stafford Rangers. And in all fairness, them games, we played a lot of the youth team as well, so we mixed it up. And then we went on to the stronger games. We had Notts Forest at home, who, to be honest, outclassed us. They were, they looked a decent side, and we were still gelling at that point. It was early on in pre-season. But then we had Sheff Wednesday at home last week, which was the first time we've been back in the ground. And for 60 minutes of the game, we were actually the better side. And we looked a really good side. And then on Saturday just gone, we travelled over to Chesterfield, who are obviously non-league, but have got players on 3-4 grand a week, and have got, they've got a League Two squad there without a shadow of a doubt. And we went over to Chesterfield and played them. So it's very much a mixed bag. We've had the non-league, we've had the league sides. We haven't played this week, obviously, ready for Saturday. And with all the new faces, it'll be interesting to see what team he puts out and what formation. But yeah, it's been a decent pre-season, and I'll be honest, I've been impressed with what I've seen in patches. And when it all comes together, I think we could be a real force.
So what have you managed to see in this pre-season? What do you look at yourself? Do you just think, oh yeah, I'm just, it's great to be back watching football. I don't really care about, players gelling and fitness and whatever. Or is there anything that you've seen that kind of, you said you've got patches of optimism. What is it that you've seen that you've been impressed by in pre-season? What do you look for? What do you see as a successful pre-season? Because I think it's not a debate that happens often in football. I think it's quite a difficult debate in terms of what can you judge in pre-season, because obviously results and everything. We obviously we lost to this Stamford team who were like 6 leagues below us or whatever. But we beat Birmingham 3-2 at home. So and they brought like 2,000 fans with them. So what is it that you look at in pre-season?
To be honest, pre-season it's all about fitness for me and just looking about partnerships on the pitch. I've seen us have some of our best pre-seasons and get relegated, and I've seen us have some of the worst pre-seasons and get promoted. So I never judge people on pre-season. When Leon Legg come into Vale, and he's the first to say that first pre-season, you watched him and thought, what have we signed here? He looked awful. And first game of the season, he was brilliant. And he kind of said it was hard to get up for the games. And when you watch him, a lot of the time, the players have been training that morning and they've ran themselves into the ground and they're only on the pitch for the fitness week. So it's hard to see. But for us, for me, our pre-season was about gelling, about looking at what shape we're going to play and see if we can take that. And I mean, James Wilson's come in, who everybody knows, obviously come through at Man United and was at Salford last year. And, you know, he's 25 now. It's his chance to prove himself. And through pre-season, he hasn't been very good. And then on Saturday at Chesterfield, he was man of the match. He played that really well, scored a wonder strike. And you're just hoping that, I said before the Chesterfield game, Wilson needed a goal. He got it. And Wilson, for us, will either score 4 or 44 this year. We don't know which James Wilson we're going to get. But hopefully that goal at Chesterfield will pick him up. There was some nice partnerships going on at Chesterfield and in the Sheff Wednesday game. So hopefully it's just gelling them partnerships for me in pre-season. I aren't really bothered about the results. I'm more bothered about, do we look like a team? And I'll be more bothered about the result on 5 o'clock on Saturday.
Totally agree. Let's talk about then those players that you signed. You know, you mentioned you've had a bit of a clear out like us. I've put a couple of names down here. Mal Benning, who was at Mansfield, I think last year, and he's obviously experienced and is a good defender. David Worrell's another one I've written down. David Amu as well is one I remember. Jamie Proctor and also James Wilson as well. I noted down. Who should we be looking out for on Saturday as a threat?
Well, I don't think you'll be looking out for Amu because I'd be surprised if he makes the squad. He hasn't really featured in pre-season, and the formation that is the manager's favourite, I don't see where Amu fits into that team. Dave Worrell, as you mentioned, he scored the last time we played. He scored the winning goal, and he was playing on wide of a front three then. I fully anticipate that we will start with wing backs and Worrell will play the wing back. So you won't get as much of the attacking threat from him, but you get the 100% work rate, the commitment. He covers every blade of grass. And if you'd never seen him attacking, you'd say he's a good wing back. But when you see him at wing back, it's you've seen him attacking. It's a bit like you lose a bit of something, but he's still a great wing back for this level. As you said, Mal Benning at Chesterfield, he played the full game and he put 3 or 4 quality balls in the box. And again, I'd imagine we'll use him as a wing back rather than a full back. So you'll see him pushing on forward, getting there. James Wilson, I think, will start, and he's got magic. The question is, can we get the magic out of him all the time? Jamie Proctor, who you mentioned, I anticipate will be on the bench. I think he'll be the third choice striker at the start of the season because we've got Devante Rodney, who you wouldn't have heard about really because last year was his first year with us and he was our top goal scorer. He's a powerful lad up front, got a lot of pace about him and he can do something. And the one of our signings that you haven't mentioned, I think, is a real quality addition for us is Tom Pett, who we've signed, who went up with Lincoln when they got promoted. Bennett Stevenage, he's come in and he looks real quality on the ball. And then last season we had Tom Conlon, who you haven't mentioned, and he's our captain. And to be fair, he's come on leaps and bounds. I don't know if you saw the goal he scored at Barrow away last year, where he scored a volley from the halfway line. And the keeper was offside.
I probably would if I saw it again. I'd probably remember. Yeah,
you'd know. But Tom Conlon is our driving force, and I think we'll see him in a more advanced position this year because last year he was kind of protecting the back four. I think we've got Brad Walker in from Shrewsbury, who was in League One with you last year, and Tom Pett that will do that job, that will allow Conlon to push on. So I think we've got a really strong squad. What we don't know is we've brought 2 keepers in, one from non-league, the Torquay goalie who scored the goal in the playoff final in the conference. He's now playing for us, and I imagine he will start. And then we brought Aidan Stone in from Mansfield. So it's 2 goalies that haven't played much league football. In fact, Lucas hasn't played any. But I think he'll be the starting one. And then we brought Johnson in from Hartlepool, who played in the playoff final. And the 2 games I've seen him in pre-season, he's been a real solid centre-half. So it'll be interesting. And mine for you is, have you still got Mark Marshall? Is he still with you?
We released him. He was kind of the only player. He was the only player out of contract that we were kind of like, not sure why we didn't keep him. Like everybody else that went, we were kind of like, yeah, bye-bye, you were crap. Whereas Mark Marshall, we were kind of like, well, he's got a bit of pace. His experience would be useful in League Two. So we were. I don't think everybody was. But I was a bit like, oh, you know, he would have been all right for League Two. But Yeah, we've got I can't even think of it. We've got Mitch Pinnock's now our new winger. He's probably the tallest winger in the world. He's looked quite dangerous in pre-season, so he should be good hopefully. And Danny Rose, I'm sure you've heard about as well.
Yes, he's not got a very good reputation with Vale fans, let's put it that way. I think he'll get some stick on Saturday because every time we play against him, he falls over in the box and ends up winning the penalty when no one's near him. So he does get a bit of stick off Vale fans.
Yeah, he's exactly the guy that you hate him when he's against you, you love him when he's playing for you, and most clubs probably have got somebody like that. So yeah, some key players to watch out for on Saturday, and both. It's no doubt that both sides have some good players, and I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be two sides that have got realistic and very similar ambitions for the season. If I have to say, we're kind of top half, you're kind of playoffs, so you may just edge it, but who knows? Let's see what you think. Let's get your prediction for the game on Saturday. How do you think it's going to go? And your score prediction overall for me, please.
It's a tough one because I hate the opening weekend because at the moment we've got a stat and Vale are on the longest unbeaten run in the country on the opening weekend of the season. We've now not been defeated in 16 attempts.
Wow.
2004 is the last time we lost on the opening day, and that was at Warsaw 3-2.
What a stat that is.
Yeah, and we hate it until 5 o'clock as long as we haven't lost. So we've kind of got that to go for, and it's Clark's first game in charge on the opening day of the season for us, so to be horrible for them to lose that stat. Yeah. I think I'm going 2-1 Vale. I think I fancy us just nick it.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to be coming down. What are your plans for the weekend? Coming down, have a nice away day?
I'm driving over, to be fair. My old man's coming with me. He doesn't do many away games, so I told him jump in. We'll drive over, get to the ground, 1:30, 2 o'clock, get in, soak up the atmosphere and just enjoy league football again.
Good stuff. Well, we can't wait to be back. I'm sure you can't wait to be back as well. It's going to be hopefully it's going to be a good occasion. I don't think it's going to be a sellout, but I think there'll still be a boosted crowd to compared to normal, because I think I was at the British Grand Prix 2 weeks ago, and there were people there that weren't even interested in what was going on the track. They just wanted to be around people and have a few drinks or whatever. So hopefully, or maybe there'll be a few people that are a bit like that on Saturday, where they just they don't care about Cobblers or Port Vale. They just want to come and see some football, be in a crowd again, soak up some atmosphere, and hopefully that's what happens, and it is a good atmosphere. So certainly looking forward to it, and I'll keep an eye out for your hair in the away end. It should be
thank you. And we've sold over 1,000, so we're bringing a good away following with us. So to be honest, we'll have one of the best away followings in this league. Bradford will be up there, Tranmere will be up there, and then there's also, I think we are the three that will bring the most away fans. And I expected a sellout, but we've sold just over 1,000. So really looking forward to it. And as you say, looking forward to get back in the ground. And to be fair, I haven't been Northampton's ground for 7 or 8 years, I don't think. So looking forward coming back.
I have to say, there's not much to look forward to be fair, but yeah, it'll be a good occasion. It's good that you've almost, I think the full away end capacity is like 1,200, something like that. So you're just short of that. And like I said, the League Two like you've just said, the League Two away attendances are always just aren't they? They never kind of go over about 500. We usually have decent away support, but yeah, Port Vale normally you'd expect to kind of bring 500, maximum 800. So to get 1,000 is a good effort as well for the first game of the season.
Yeah, I think, like I say, and season tickets, to be fair, what season tickets have you sold? Because we've done about 4,600 now, which is our biggest for a few years. So again, I think that's people looking. As you say, it's people that are looking forward to just getting back to some normality, isn't it, and getting back to your Saturdays at the football.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've no idea what the number is exactly. I think it's around the 3,000 mark in a 8,000 capacity stadium, which isn't too bad. Considering on a normal times, we'd probably get 4,000 or 5,000 in on a Saturday afternoon, maybe 5, maybe pushing it to 6 if we're in League One and there's a decent away following. So maybe we'll get 6 on Saturday if you guys bring a decent following with you. So the last thing, like I said at the start, you're part of the Ale and the Vale podcast. It's the perfect podcast name and probably the best podcast name we've had on here. So tell us a bit about that. Where can we find you? Twitter, on Spotify, whatever. Where can we find you?
Yeah, we're on Spotify, Twitter. We've got the handle on Twitter, which is Ale and the Vale Pod, which Johnny looks after, one of the lads that do it. And we're on all your normal podcast streams. If Apple Podcast is where you I download it from, because that's the only place I now do podcasts. I'm not the technical one, so you put me on the spot there. But we've also got Instagram, and basically we're just 3 lads that, as though we're down the pub having a pint talking about the Vale. So we normally do a Friday night one, which will preview the game, and then we'll do one after the game and just talk about some key points. So if any Cobblers fans want to listen to what our thoughts are going into the game and what our thoughts were on the game, feel free, pop on, have a listen and let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll stick a link to that in the description. I'm sure it will be on all your normal podcast forums. I think Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like you said, everywhere that does a podcast.
Yeah,
pretty much get it is what I'm going for here. So yeah, I'll stick a link to that below as well. So anyone that wants to go and check that out, please do show them some support. Tell them we sent you as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Great to be back for the new season. Great to be speaking to another opposition fan after it's a bit of a, no disrespect, bit of a downfall from Sunderland on the last day of last season to kind of Port Vale. At least it wasn't like Barrow or something like that. That would have been really depressing. But it's all good. We like League Two. League Two's fine. It's I'm not trying to
proper football.
I'm sounding like oh, League One's this massive like Premier League compared to League Two, and we shouldn't be here because we should be here. We haven't been good enough last year. Recruitment wasn't good. Blah 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 blah. I'm not going to go and rant on about last season again. I did enough of that. But yeah. League Two is where we belong. I'm not making it out that we shouldn't be here because that's kind of how it's sounding a little bit. But anyway, thanks very much for coming on again, Dan. It's been brilliant having you. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure we'll speak to you or one of the podcast team for the reverse fixture whenever that is later on in the season. So yeah, thanks very much to Dan for coming on. Thanks very much to everybody who's watched this. If you've joined us live, there's been quite a few of you popping in. Thank you very much. If you're watching this back as a video, thank you as well. Make sure to hit a like on it for me, please. If you're a Port Vale fan and have never seen us on your screen before, make sure to subscribe to us on the channel. Go and hit the Ale and the Vale podcast as well if you've not listened to that. And yeah, that's pretty much it from us. Come on the Cobblers. Hopefully we get the win. I'm not too bothered if we don't win on Saturday. I'll be honest. I'm just looking forward to being back. Proper crowd, proper football match. No social distancing. It's going to be fantastic. So enjoy yourself if you're there at the weekend. I'm going to stop waffling on now. Drop a like, hit subscribe. Come on the Cobblers. And until next time, we'll see you all later. Bye-bye.